All right. Thank you everybody for coming. My name is Pavan Oberoi. We are going to talk about Whiteboard.chat today. Thanks for taking time over the holiday weekend. Hope everybody had a good break to come chat with us on Whiteboard.chat. We are a small company based out of the Bay Area in California. It's called Epiphany. And we are the people who are behind Whiteboard.chat. This is this wasn't our main product. We have an enterprise product that we are making too, but we took pieces of that product to make the initial version of Whiteboard.chat. But since then, it's the teachers such as yourself who have been driving it. So we just sit back and listen to what teachers ask us to do, and we keep improving it every day. If you know, if you follow us on social media. So this is the agenda. I'm going to talk about Whiteboard.chat. I'll give you a demonstration of all the features that we have as much as possible. We'll give you a chance to play with it live as well. We'll give you an opportunity to experience it as a student. And then we'll do question and answers. We also, if you have questions during the talk, I request you to type them out on Zoom chat, and one of my colleagues, Sid, who's here, he's going to read them out periodically. So that's how we do it. But the other thing we do is that we spend this whole hour covering all that we want to cover during all the features. But we stay 30 minutes past that. So if you want to talk to us, give us ideas, give us feedback, we'll be here 30 minutes past the hour as well. Where does Whiteboard.chat fit into the virtual class ecosystem? It works really well with all the communication tools that are out there. Like we're using it with Zoom, teachers use it with Google Meet, as well as Microsoft Teams, right? It fits really nicely with learning management systems as well. I will show you how you can just take the invite link from Whiteboard.chat, embed that into Google Classroom or Schoology, and even you can embed it as a embedded iframe on Canvas as well. So the students don't even need to leave the Canvas if they have to use Whiteboard.chat. But where Whiteboard.chat really shines is this ability to observe students in real time and engage them, right? So imagine as if there is a camera that is fixed on top of each kid's shoulder, and you can see them as they progress through their lessons live, right? And you can observe them where they're struggling, where they're doing well, give them feedback, join their boards, work with them one-on-one, put them on group boards so that they can work with each other. I'll show you all of that. But so teachers have told us that this is even more powerful than an in-class experience, because in class they can walk around the classroom and they can observe a certain group or a certain subset of students, but not everybody at the same time. Right? So that's what we are trying to achieve here. Whiteboard.chat is fairly new. It's 5 months old. We launched it in August, but it's growing at an exponential rate, right? Before the holidays, we reached up to about 40,000 users a day, and it's used all around the world. I think the only country we looked back in the 5 months where the only country where it wasn't used was Greenland. I don't know for what reason, but that's the only country where it's not used at this moment. And like I said, the platform is completely based on suggestions that we receive from teachers. You can send us your suggestions on this email address, feedback@whiteboard.chat. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. We have a YouTube channel where we post videos every day. I'll post this webinar link there as well. We have a really active group of teachers that work with us, the pioneer teachers, in a group called Teachers Using Whiteboard.chat on Facebook. So if you like this platform and if you want to use it, I would recommend you guys please join us there and then interact with us on a daily basis. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to get started with Whiteboard.chat. like I said, this is a web-based platform. It is completely free. We do not charge any money. We do not intend to charge any money ever for educators for using this platform, right? It's completely COPPA compliant. You can see our privacy policy here, the terms of conditions here, and a little bit about us here as well, right? This is a new thing that Sid added, a snow effect. It's not always like this, but it's pretty cool, celebrating the season. So we we have two modes really, right? So if you click the start drawing, you can do start collaborating, which is a regular whiteboard where everybody ends up just like a Jamboard or a Zoom whiteboard or Microsoft whiteboard would be. Everybody ends up on the same board and they can write on each other, they can work with each other, right? But what the more interesting thing is this, which I'm going to talk about, where the teaching mode, where you can create, assign, and live teach individual student boards, right? And we'll talk about that. You can create group boards, you can upload PDFs, you can do a lot of interesting stuff with it. And this is a web-based platform, so it works really well on all kinds of devices. It works on Chromebooks, it works on PCs, Macs, it works well on iPads as well. I use it with an iPad quite a bit. It works on mobile phones too a little bit. Some parts of the world they use mobile phones. It's not designed for it, but it's functional. So that said, I'll start teaching. The teachers don't need to have an account to sign up. They to start using. The students never need to have an account unless the teacher decides to have them registered. So it's completely open. The only reason why teachers would need an account with our platform is if they want to save their work and reuse their work, which I will show you. So to get started, you get a basic whiteboard. You can start drawing anywhere, right? You can use your pen. Another interesting thing is that you can type anywhere. You don't need to put input boxes. You can just type wherever you want. It'll put the box there on its own, right? You can change the colors on the bottom right-hand side. You can change the colors if you want to. This is something that the kids love. If you change the color of your pen, the whole interface changes. You can turn that off in the settings if you want to. Here you can say pen colors match or not, right? You can change the fonts here as well. You can change the font. The kids can easier to change fonts here as well, so they can type in different fonts. You can change the thickness of the brush. So if you use the slider, it changes the thickness of the brush. If you use the third slider, it actually changes the size of the text as well. And you can keep typing there. The middle slider is for opacity. So if you want to make your pen a highlighter, you can actually change the opacity and it becomes a highlighter. Right? So these are the basic functions, very basic functions. You can change your name by clicking this and typing your name here as well. So these are the basic functions here. The toolbar here has a lot more functions. So if you click this button, it'll open up the toolbar so you can actually read through some of the functions, what they do. So I'm going to start from the bottom up. The lasso tool is something that if you have multiple objects, you want to combine them together to be a same object, you can use the lasso tool. You just draw around it. You can move this object as a group. You can rotate it. We have some other actions you can do. You can animate any of the things that you can you are drawing or from the palette. That is quite interesting. You can move them, you can rotate them to catch attention, right? You can move and rotate them as well. So that's quite nifty. The next tool is the text tool. If you want to explicitly use a text tool, you can. But like I said, it's much easier to just click anywhere and start typing. It puts a text box there automatically. There's an eraser, which you just saw. You can just erase through objects. An easier way to get to an eraser is just use your right click and drag. So if you do a right click and drag, it turns into an eraser, right? So you don't have to switch tools. Similarly, if you want to go back to your default tool, which you can specify in the setting here, what your default tool you want it to be as specified brush, but you can change that to move instead if you're used to a pointer or if you want a different default tool. And if you press escape, it will always take you back to your default tool. So this is the drawing tool. Upload file I'll show you in a bit. And then there's a whole slew of other tools, right? These are all teacher requested. You can draw lines, for example. You can draw, let me make this a little skinnier, right? You can draw arrows, you can draw circles, you can do rectangles if you wanted to, right? You can do post-it notes. Yeah, people have asked us for different colored post-it notes, but you can write on the post-it notes, draw on the post-it notes, right? You have a rich text editor built in. So if you want to do a longer essay or a paragraph, you can use it with better formatting than just the plain text tool, right? And you can save that work. You can edit the real text tool work or any of the other tools by right clicking or double clicking it and saying edit text, right? You have a lot other options here, which I will talk about in a bit as well, but you can edit it that way, right? You can delete this by just selecting and pressing the delete button. There's an infinite cloner built in, so any of the objects that you pick, you can just keep cloning them. You can use that to prepare for your lessons. The students don't need to use the infinite cloner. They have a much easier way to clone, which I will show you as well, right? You can embed a link. So you can say, I want a link to an external website or a different page in the book. So if you want the kids to jump to page number 6, you're creating a table of contents, you can do that. I will show you the external websites. So you can say, I want a link to Google, right, for some reason, and it'll create a link here. And then when the kids come here and they click this, it'll open it in a different tab. They can do what they want to. And then when they close the tab, it'll take them back to the whiteboard. Right? You can embed YouTube videos right on here. So you can actually click this. You can find a YouTube video that you want to embed. Right? So you can just, like in this video we just made today, how to create a personal library. We can just embed that here. And then when the students come, they don't even need to leave Whiteboard.chat. They will see the video right here and they can play it. And they can play it right in the whiteboard itself, right? You can close it, you can take it out if you don't want it. We have a built-in compass with for doing object creations, right? You can change the radius, you can move it around, you can draw different objects with it, right? We have a built-in math tool. Let me just clear it. So let's press clear, it will clear the whole screen of objects except for these dots. And then the math editor is quite powerful, where you can use that to do complex equations if you wanted to. It automatically has a lot of math symbols built in, right? And you can do whatever else you want to, right? And you can keep typing in the math editor. And there's a whole help. So if you click these 3 buttons, you can see there is a help section here, and there's a math input guide. So this will tell you how you can input maths in the math editor. There's a whole bunch of things you can do. You can do quadratic equations, polynomials, fractions, summations, integrals. It's anything that you can think of, right? It's based on LaTeX, but you can use that to type math really easily. A lot of teachers like that. Right?
There's one question about the math editor. So one of the teachers said that they used the math input one time, but after that they have had not no good luck using it again. Is there any way that could be happening to them?
So let's take the individual questions after we finish it, so
Okay.
we can walk through if you have a specific problem. But yeah, I wouldn't know why unless we dig through it. Yeah, so now we are added alignment as well, so you can actually see that if you're solving an equation, this is a new feature we just added. Let me do this. So if you're solving an equation, you can go back to the math editor. And you can say 2x plus 4 equal to 16. Then you can just keep doing 2x equal to 16 minus 4, x is equal to 12, x is equal to 6, right? So you can show your work really easily in the math editor. It will auto line the things to you. This is something we very recently added to the platform, right? There's a built-in dice that you can use to play games. You can put this dice on group boards. There's a video that we just created how you can create a bump board with these dice, and kids can join the group board and play with each other, 2 or more kids, right? You can, these dice are programmable. You can actually say what numbers you want them to spin to, and they will spin to those numbers and keep rotating over it, right? And that's pretty much it from the basic tools. You want to hide the dice, you go here and hide it. It will go away. So I'll stop here for a second to see if there are questions. Otherwise, I'll continue.
Yeah, a few questions. Is this compatible with simple Chromebooks and iPads?
Yes, it works with Chromebooks and iPads really nicely. In fact, if you have multiple devices, like for example, you can join uh, not only as students, but also as teachers from multiple devices and use multiple devices to do your work. For example, I have an iPad here with me. I can just scan this QR code, which is the invite link really to this platform, and it will open it in my iPad, right? And then because I'm signed in with the same account, right, I can actually use my pencil on my iPad and draw here, right, and it'll show up on the whiteboard as the objects that I'm drawing. So it makes it super easy. More questions, Sid?
Yes. There's a question about what is the best way to create a single whiteboard and make 30 student copies of the same thing. But I think you might cover that as we move along. So
Yes.
yeah, I think let's keep going, and I think most of the questions might get answered as you go further.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is exactly that. So I'm going to prepare for my lesson. So let me just clear this board, right? I'm going to prepare for my lesson by uploading a PDF. In my PDF, I have 3 pages, right? So I can upload this file. You can say, you can do 2 things. Now, this is another new thing we added. You can directly upload from Google Drive or from your computer. You click from my computer, right? You can say, I want to upload a lesson that has a PDF with 3 pages. It's called demo pages, right? And what whiteboard.chat does at this point is that for each page in the PDF, so you have 1 page, 2 page, right? Page number 2, page number 3, right? It creates 3 pages in whiteboard.chat automatically. You can rearrange these pages. Again, this is something brand new. So you can click this button. You can see, hey, this is my page number 1, this is my page number 2, page number 3. You can drag and drop these. You right click this. You can say you can delete pages, you can duplicate or insert pages as well, right? So you have a little more freedom now with whiteboard.chat to align your work properly. You click this, it go back to my page number 1, right? And now at this point, I'm ready. I can annotate on top of this thing directly. I can type on it, right? So if I want to, I can make copies of it if I want to. Um, I can lock this thing as well so it doesn't move around accidentally, right? Even though the students cannot move stuff, but even from a teacher's perspective, if you don't want them, if you don't want to accidentally delete it or accidentally move it, you can lock the objects, right? And you can type on it, you can write on it, draw on it, on whatever, right? But at this point, I'm going to invite some students. So what I do is I click this invite button. I can either send them an email, I can give them this class code, or what most teachers do is that copy this invite URL and you can put that into your LMS system in your Google Classroom, in your uh, Canvas, in Schoology, or even in chat, right? So I'm going to post this to, I don't have Slack. So I'm going to, oh, I do. Okay, so here. So I'm going to post this to Sid so he can join as a student, this link, and I will at the same time, I will open another browser window in incognito mode, so you can actually see the student experience side by side, right? So I don't need to create copies of this board for students. It automatically does it for us. So when the student clicks on that link, for each student, it will create a separate board. It will ask them for their name. You'll say, hey, my name is student, and it will create a board for them, a copy of this board automatically, right? The students don't have the ability to erase or move anything that the teacher has put on the board, right? They cannot change anything that the teacher has put on the instructor board. This is the student board, right? But they can start annotating right away, right? They can start making changes to it. They can start typing on it. They can do whatever you want them to do, right? And this is the cool part, right? The teacher, on the other hand, they can observe the whole class at the same time. So if the teacher clicks the grid view, for example, they can see all of the teachers working on the board in real time. Like, for example, Sid is doing drawing a pencil, a really pretty pencil on their whiteboard, right? If this student, which is on the bottom right, is drawing something, you can see them drawing something here. If they change a page to a different page, you can see them that, hey, they're done with the page number 1, they're on to page number 2, they're doing work on page number 2. You can see that in real time as well, right? And imagine, this is the camera that I was talking about in the beginning. This is the camera on top of the student's shoulder, and whatever the student is looking at is visible to you as a teacher in real time. You can use this asynchronously as well, which I will show you, but this is what this shows you in real time, what the students are doing as they're progressing through this lesson. And you as a teacher, you can have the ability to join any of these kids boards, right? You can click join, and then you can interact with them on a one-on-one basis. You can go there and say, good job, right? You can give them a sticker, right? We have a bunch of stickers here that I will show you how to access later, but I can give them a Santa hat, for example, right? And it goes to their board. You can go back to the instructor board, watch the rest of the class, right? So you can interact with the students, see where they're struggling, how you can help them, all of that stuff very easily from this grid view. You can change the size of this grid view. You can make this, if you have, you can see up to 20 students at a given time. The whiteboard.chat can support 125 students per classroom. So if you have 125 students, you'll have multiple pages. So you have to flip through the pages of the grid, but you can see them all at the same time as well if you have multiple monitors and you want to open different browser windows, right? So that's quite useful. So I'll pause for a second and see if there are questions.
Yeah, few questions about the invite and joining one. So could you show again how the invitation can be done?
Yes, sure. So to invite students, what you do is that, remember, this is very important. Do not send the link from the URL because they end up on your board. You have to use the invite button, and you can copy this link. This, if you just press this button, it copies the link into your clipboard, and you can paste it anywhere, right? If you have, let me just paste it in an email, for example, right? Or a calendar invite. So I can just paste it here. This is the invite link that I want to send to the students. And the students, whenever they click, so this is also quite interesting. The students, even if they close the browser and go home, if they click that link again, it'll take them back exactly to their board, right? So if I click this, if the students identity has been erased for some reason, right? They'll be asked for their name again. But once they enter the name, you will see that they are actually sent back to the same board that they were working on. So they can keep working on this board as long as you want them to. You can lock the boards for tests and assessments, which I will show you as well. But it's very easy to get back to the same link. And you can paste the link on Zoom as well, which I will show you at the end. So when I invite you as students to join my board, I will show you that. Any other questions, sir?
Yes, so there was a question about, you already mentioned that you could paste it in the Zoom in meeting, but you can paste it in any LMS or even in Google Meet or Microsoft Teams as well, just to confirm that. I think there's a question about how to rearrange pages. I don't know if you already covered that or
No, I
there is.
didn't. So this is a
Okay,
new
so we'll get to
feature.
that.
What you do is that you can click this button on the left hand side, right? And you can drag and drop these in the order that you want them to. So you can rearrange them in whichever way that you want to, right? You just have to click this and say drag and drop, press down and move.
Okay. Do the kids have to click on the math editor to have the numbers line up correctly?
So I will show you another. There are two ways. So we have different grids. So let me show you some more features. So that will make it easier, right? So let me go to page number 4, which is empty, right? So I can put another grid. There are different types of grids that we support in the platform, right? There's a regular grid that you can use to do math. There is a coordinate plane that is built in. There is a positive coordinate plane built in, right? There's a primary line paper, right? There is a college line paper where you can type. So this also auto aligns. Oops, let me make my font smaller, right? So this also, you can keep typing. So, and then it'll like auto line whatever you're doing. You can have different columns of text, right? And then it will keep aligning it too as well, right? So this is a college line. Again, you can observe the whole class at the same time as they're working through it. All of this works really well with that, right? There are other grids. There is this big grid. So there's a big grid that we recently added. So this is right hot off the press. So we added, like for example, we added division symbols here, right? So we can actually do, um, if I go to math, you can do long division symbol here, right? So if you want to give kids the ability to do a division, right? This also auto aligns. So you can say 27 divided by 5, right? And then the kids, on the other hand, they don't need to do anything. They just need to come here and say, okay, you just pick the grid that you want to type in. You can say type there and say 25. Oops, not that. It is this. Right, so you can say 25 and then remainder 2, right? So that's it. So they can move around this grid with the arrow keys and it auto aligns to that. So it becomes super easy for them to navigate in this math grid as well. They can use the math editor equation if you want. If you have older kids, you can use the math editor equation editor, and it will also align to this really nicely, right? So that's another option to use. And then let me see, there is more questions, or I'll keep going.
Yeah. So one question about the text alignment, Pawan, is what happens if when the lines run out?
So on the primary line sheet, nothing. You'll have to go to the next page. So you have to do it yourself. So you can do 2 pages or 3 pages. So if the lines run out, you'll have to manually say, go to next page here.
Okay. And which colors do you recommend for best usage and which one should they avoid?
So don't use lighter colors. Don't use darker colors, anything from the palette. It works really nicely with darker colors. Another thing that we have noticed is that if you have font sizes, so this font size, maybe 4 or 5 works best, especially when you're viewing in a grid view. So you can actually see them. Otherwise, it becomes like ants. It's hard to read, right? It's readable, but it's hard to read. But if you want to make it really readable, then go to 4 or 5 font size, right?
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I think few more questions, but I think you're going to cover that in a little bit, so we can keep going.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I go back to the teacher thing, right? So now we covered all the grades. There are more grades I will show you as well. So let me clear this thing again. There's a music grade. Music teachers love it, right? My kid's piano teacher uses this quite a bit. So you can use this in conjunction with the manipulatives. So the manipulatives are all based in this palette, which I will show you. So you click the palette, you have different types of manipulatives here. There's a basic math symbols for younger kids. That's where I pulled the long division thing from. right? There is music symbols for music teachers, so you can actually write music. You can teach music theory here if you wanted to, right? There is letters of the alphabet, right? So there is capital letters, there is numbers, there's lowercase magnetic letters, right? You have in different colors, right? And there is phonics alphabets and math manipulatives. Teachers love this part a lot, right? You have like 100 block, you have a 10 block, you can make one block. So you can give these to kids to do math problems, which I will show you in a bit. You have a protractor built into this, so you can do, you have rulers built in, different kind of rulers, right? We have shapes, we have 10 frames built in, we have number bonds, we have place value charts, place value disks, they have number lines, right? There's touch point numbers, there's arches, there's fraction tiles, right? There's a whole bunch of things here. There are number charts like the 100 chart, 200 chart. All of these are built in, and it takes us literally 10 minutes to add new things into this palette. So if there's something missing, we can add it, or you can add it. I will show you how you can add your own things into this palette as well. You have a different reward stickers, we have games like chess, checkers built in. We have 3D shapes we recently added, right? So we have 3D shapes that you can use from here. We have French uh, alphabets. This is again, oops, what happened to my French alphabet? I have to check what's going on. But yeah, so French alphabets. We have Hindi alphabets. Um, we have US currency. So we have coins, we have bills, right? We have um, Canadian currency, right? So Canadian teachers like it quite a bit. We have chemistry symbols. So this is again from teachers' request. So you can actually do constructions of atoms, if you will, right? This is all teachers requested. We have Russian alphabet. We do seasonal stickers as well, like a Christmas sticker right now. We have uh, Hanukkah sticker, which we should actually take out maybe. Um, we have New Year's stickers, right? So we can use the New Year stickers. We have emojis built in, so you have different kind of emojis you can use. There are widgets, which I will show you in a second. And all of these things you can actually animate, you can rotate, you can move. Kids have done such wonderful things with this. They have made greeting cards, they have decorated gingerbread houses. It's amazing what all kids have done with these stickers. It's so refreshing for us to see, right? And then we have a couple of widgets as well. So there's a spinner that you can put in for games. This is a programmable spinner, of course, so you can change what you want in the spinner. You can say 1, 2, 3, right? You can change the spinner as to what objects you want. We have a built-in analog clock. You can use that to teach time, right? All of these things are all available to you, right? And like I was saying, you can create your own very easily. So if there's something missing, like there is this thing we call my object. So you can cut paste things from the internet. So if you want to, let's say you want a dinosaur, right? I want a dinosaur in my palette, which we don't have. Let's take a dinosaur riding a bicycle, right? So I take the snip tool. So Command Control Shift 4. I take this dinosaur and I put it here, right? It'll just paste it using the paste thing, and then it'll paste it here, and then I can just move it to this part. I can resize it, and then I can use the select tool and say add to my palette, right? To add to palette, and it'll ask me what is the name, right? So I call it Dino, and then now in my objects I have Dino, right? I can use it again and again in different classes on different boards automatically. Okay. Anything else, Sid?
Yes, there's a question about a teacher asked she could not see where you click to assign boards to the students. So maybe I think conceptually they haven't understood that the same boards are available to everyone.
Yeah, so there is no assignment per se. So whichever students get this link, they will get a copy of the board that you create automatically. So there is no assignment of pages, there is no assignment of boards per se. They'll automatically, each of the students, maybe if I show you this, let me rename this board to December 30th, right? And then I can go to like my manage boards. So this is when you need an account with Whiteboard.chat. So if you click manage boards, all your work automatically gets saved. Your work, the students' work, all of that gets saved automatically, right? So you can see this is the main board, this is the instructor board, and these are the 3 students, right, who are using this board right now. Right, so all of their work or their boards are automatically created. You don't have to assign them. You don't have to do anything with it. Right, these boards do expire, so you can extend the expiry date by clicking this clock icon, and it will extend it by a month. And you can keep extending it. You can export these boards if you want to save them on your local hard disk or Google Drive. You can export them as well, which I will show you in a second, and you can save them there. There's also a lot of about 50 odd teacher contributed boards to our community. You can browse through them as well in the same place. You can go to community boards. You can browse through all the boards that other teachers have put there. You can search for them as well if you want a particular grade or a particular subject here as well.
Can you demonstrate really quickly how to create folders in there since you're already in that? Right?
Yeah, okay. So it's a little bit tricky. So you have to press enter. That's one quirk here. So if you want to create a folder, you just click add folder. So you can say new folder. It won't save until you press enter. So if you say press enter, then it saves. And then you can just drag any of the boards that you have into that new folder that you created. Right? And you can save them that way. Okay. So I think I'll show you some more features. I think we have too many features, too little time. So here are some of the other things that the kids can do, right? For example, the kids can take, if they're doing work with a paper and pencil, right? You can add media directly. You as a teacher can add it, or kids can add it. You can say add a webcam photo, for example, right? So you can use the photo from a webcam of their real work, and then it will be put on the whiteboard.chat, and you as a teacher have access to it, right? You can see it from here. You can join their board, do corrections on their physical work that they did as well, right? You also have the ability to record audio or video. Video is disabled by default. You have, as a teacher, has to enable it from here, from there saying enable webcam video. But the students can record audio if they are reading a paragraph or they're doing something. You can add this. You can say allow the microphone. Right, you can just say hello is the name. Start recording. Hello, hello, hello. Stop recording and save it. Right, and then at that point, the this thing is available on the students page. You as a teacher can go back and play that back really easily, right? The students just have to click a single button and they get to record the video, audio, as well as take pictures from their webcam really easily into the whiteboard. Sid, any questions, or should we keep going?
Yeah, I think, do you want to show the PDF upload? Because there's a few questions about that as well.
Right. So for the PDF upload, you can just click this. I'll show you a different PDF. Let me just create a new one, like on page number 8, maybe. Right. So let's say I have another exercise I want the kids to do. Right. I want to have them identify continents on a map. So I can just click this upload button like I did. Select from computer, right, and then I say continents. Right. So I find that file. This is a single page PDF, so a single page will be created. That you can see it got created here, right? And then the 2 students get the page number 8 as the continent map as well, right? But now I want them to identify continents on this map, right? But remember, whatever I do, if I say this is Asia, West Africa,
Pawan, sorry to interrupt you, but I think on the teacher board, you're probably looking at the student board right
Oh
now.
yeah, that's correct. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a common mistake. You should actually look up there and see which board you are actually on. Right, so let me delete these objects uh, because this is on the student board. So yeah, you have to do that on the teacher board. Otherwise, what happens is that the student, only one student will get a copy of it. And everything that you do on the teacher's board automatically gets replicated to the student board in real time. But you can disable that. You click this button, you say toggle replication to students, and it will disable that, right? So I'm going to just do, where's Asia, there's Africa, and where are oceans, right? And I can pick an object from my palette or from the internet, right? An image from the internet, and then you can ask them to maybe put baby Yoda's picture somewhere, right? Now, now the students, remember, they don't have the ability to move any of these objects because these are put by the teacher. But you as a teacher have the ability to say this object students can clone, this object students can move, right? This object student can move, and this object, because there are multiple oceans, students can clone, right? And then the students, you can set the default tool on the teacher side to move, right? Which makes it super easy for the kids. So all they need to do is just take this thing and drag it, right? They don't need to do any of the work that I did, right? So they can, oops, that's not what I wanted. So yeah, so they can take that thing, they can, and when they, now this, see, this is infinite cloner built in, right? The students don't need to select a tool because I said students can clone, and this object students can keep cloning as many times as they want to. And same for the Yoda, they can keep cloning as many times as they want to, right? And you can do this with different math objects, like teachers do this with the math manipulatives that use this to create like numbers, right? And I can just create them. You can say students can clone, students can clone, right? And ask them to make 160. So, and then the student just takes one of this and one of these and makes a 160, right? So that's it. So that makes it super easy for the kids just to use a simple tool to create work really easily. So I think we need, is there more questions, Sid?
Yeah, a few more questions, but if you'd like to invite the teachers, you could do that if you want. We can cover
No,
these now.
I want to show a lot more features. So I think let's.
Okay, then can we quickly answer a few questions? One is there a way to change the color of the protractor and the ruler?
Right now, no. They are transparent, but you can add different colored ones yourself, just like I was showing you. Or if you send us an email, we'll be happy to add them.
Okay, and can the mouse cursor, that is the finger and the pointer and the finger, be enlarged?
You can do that at your OS level, right? You can change that at your OS level to make the um, pointers bigger. A lot of teachers do that.
Okay, and I think there's about locking boards and all. You'll be covering that in a little bit. So
Yes.
we can move on.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so some of the other features I'll quickly show you. The kids, if they need help, they can raise their hand. They can do two things. Either they can raise their hand or signal to the teacher they're finished with the assignment, right? And if they raise their hand, the teacher gets a notification. And if they click that notification, it'll take them directly to the student's board, right? And then they can work with them. And if they say I finished, again the teacher gets a different notification saying these kids finished, and they can go check on their work really easily there, right? There's a built-in timer. There are different types of timers built in, right? So there's a timer here. You can say just want a simple timer to start for 5 minutes, and once the timer expires, everybody gets a notification that the timer is done, right? So it's a simple timer built in. You can also have a timer per student. So let's say you want to only after the students log into the exercise, right? It's an asynchronous exercise. The timer will start only when they join, right? So after they join, the timer will start, and then they'll get that many minutes to finish their work. And you can also enable auto lock. So once the timer expires, the boards lock automatically. So students cannot continue writing if you're doing a timed assessment, for example. You can always lock the class from here as well. So if you click this avatar menu, you can say lock the class. And once you lock the class, the students don't have the ability to write on it. So if you were doing an exercise or if you were explaining something, you can lock this class. The teacher can still write on it, of course, but the students cannot write on it anymore. So if you put an answer key, if it was an assessment, you can put the answer key and the students still can get a read-only view of this board. You can lock individual pages as well. So as you work through the different page, you can say lock page number 1, then move to page number 2 and keep locking them so that they cannot go back and change stuff. There's another one where you can set it to follow the teacher. So you can say so you don't want kids wandering off. So if you set this enabled, then whatever page the teacher is on, the students have to follow that page, right? So as I change pages, see on the teacher side, the student side is automatically changing to that page, right? There's a chat, very interesting chat that we have built in. It's a one-to-many chat, so you can enable that, but only the teacher can enable it. You can say enable the chat. Whatever the teacher types goes to the students, and whatever the student types only goes to the teacher, unless they are on a group board. If they are on a group board, then they can chat with each other. But one another super interesting feature we add is that you can pick the students can pick the language that they want to chat in, right? So they can say, hey, look, I want to talk in Spanish, right? So the whatever the teacher is posting, I need to so it automatically in real time translates that language to the kids language, right? And vice versa. So what if the kids types in a different language, it will translate it back to the English language if the teacher selects the language as English, right? So this is useful if you're teaching kids who do not understand the language you're teaching them right now, right? What else? I'm showing you group boards as well. So you can say create group boards. So what you can do is there are 3 different ways of creating group boards. I'm going to show you only one because we don't have that much time. But you can live create group boards. So you can say, look, I want uh, these students, this student and this student, to be part of this group, right? We move them over to the right and call this thing a blue group, right? And once you create the blue group, what happens is the students automatically get transferred over to the blue group, right? You can see they're on the blue group, and then they can interact with each other. So I don't know if Sid is on the blue group or not. Yeah, you can see Sid is on the blue group. We are interacting with each other, right? But even on the group boards, you as students cannot erase each other's work. You can never erase the teacher's work, but you cannot erase other students' work as well, right? You can only erase your own drawings, your own work that you have done. And as a teacher, if you join this one of these group boards, you can use the select tool, right, to see who wrote what, right? You can see, hey, this was last updated by the whiteboard team student, right? So you can actually see who wrote what from a teacher, right? So I think at this point I'm going to pause and I'm going to create a bingo board, and then I'll invite you guys to the bingo board so you can experience it live, and then we'll continue showing some of the other features as well. So a bingo board is kind of different. It's a really simple way to create a bingo for the whole class, right? So I have this PDF. This PDF, it's a very simple PDF that you can create from a website that Sid will post. It's called Free Bingo something something. Sid will post it on the chat, or you can look up in a YouTube video. Right. What it has is that each page of the bingo sheet is a different bingo tile. That's it. Right. And so if you go to whiteboard.chat, you can say, again, I go here, say start teaching. But instead of uploading this file, I go to manage book, and you can say upload bingo, right? Upload bingo, what whiteboard does at that time, it for each participant who join this board, who gets a board from this board, they will get a random tile out of this automatically, right? So if I were to invite, for example, this student, that the fake student that I have on the site, right, they will get a random tile from this particular bingo sheet that I created, right? See, these two are different, and I can watch the whole. So I'll paste this same thing on the Zoom chat. So if you guys click that, you can experience this as students, right? The invite I just pasted, right? You can just click that link. You can start joining. You can see everybody's joining here, right? So you can see everybody's bingos boards coming up, right? I can make this more so that you can see how many people are joining, right? And then you can watch everybody playing live at the same time. You can say, hey, this kid is playing this live at the same time, right? And in the grid view, you can actually cheat. You can say, hey, look, this kid is not doing well, or some kids are doing too well, and you can call out what you want differently based on who you want to give encouragement to, right? So you can cheat because you can see everybody's bingo boards live in real time as they're playing bingo, right? So this is really cool. I'll pause here for a second and see, Sid, if there are
Yeah,
questions.
let's catch up on a few questions now. So the one about the group board chats, how do we close the group board chats?
So right now we don't have a way. We can add a way to close it. Yeah, other teachers have asked for it too, so you can delete the chats completely. We will add a way to do that.
Okay. Is there some help or search functions that teachers can use to ask questions on, or I think they're looking for more documentation?
Yeah, so if you look, so in these three buttons here, you can go to this help section, and that has a whole bunch of guides, teachers guides, students guides, whatever new we do. Like I don't know why we don't put that link here. There is a link to, if you go to whiteboard.chat/help, right? There is a link to this help documentation as well, right? And this has all the new features and guides for all the new features all listed here as well, right? So it's all in here.
Okay. Question about the internet connection requirements. Does whiteboard.chat require a really good internet connection? Because with Jamboard, they have problems. It just keeps loading.
So the whiteboard.chat initially requires, because all the JavaScript objects need to be loaded. Initially, it requires a little bit of internet, but after that, it just sends small objects like whatever you're drawing. That is what it does. So people do use it across the world, right, around the world with very slow internet connections as well. But what we recommend is you teach your kids to be familiar with this refresh button. Once in a while, if you're on a slow internet, it's good to press this refresh button and then make sure you get connected back to the network that you are doing, right? So that's very useful from a student's perspective.
Okay. Is there a way for a teacher to know how many times a student has revisited the link?
There's no counter. You can see if you click the avatar menu, though, you can see when was the last time they visited it. So you can see the timestamp here, which says when was the last time this link was visited. But there is no way to see how many times. We can add that too if that is uh, requested.
Awesome. Also, there's a question about board locking again. So, if a student is working on a test and the teacher locks it, does it stay locked each time a student re-enters
Yes,
to the link? Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if I lock the board that you guys are working on, you cannot access it anymore, right? And you won't be able to write it. Even if you log out, log in, you'll still be locked. And same for the timer too. If you lock it with a timer, right, where the timer will start when you join, and when it expires, it will continue to run even if you leave the board, if you come back.
Great. There's a request to go with the time machine feature, if you can, please.
Awesome. I was going to do that. So, all right. So this is again a brand new feature. So what you can do is that you can join one of the student boards, like for example, this student that I have shown here, right? And now if you want to see how did they progress through their lesson, right? So you can actually go to this manage book. This manage book has a whole bunch of things that we didn't talk about. Let me quickly talk about them. You can send a copy. So the board that you prepared, right? The work that you prepared, you can send a copy to other teachers, and then you just copy this link and email it to them, and they will get a copy. As soon as they click that link, it will make a copy in their environment for them, right? So it's not linked to your environment. So you can send it to 10 teachers, they can all click it, and it will create 10 different boards at that time, right? You can publish this to the community, which we ask, if you have time, please publish to the community so other teachers can benefit from it too. You can delete the board forever. You can delete a page. Maybe you should take this out from here. You can clear all the pages, like from all students, right? The copy page also, maybe we can remove. This upload gameplay is super cool. We recently added the ability to play a game like Among Us on Whiteboard.chat. There's a video on it that we recently posted yesterday on our YouTube channel, so you can go see that. And then there is this, you can import and export boards. So like, for example, like I said, the boards expire in 2 weeks, but if you forget to renew it, you don't want to lose your work. So what you can do is you can export it. It creates a special JSON file, which you can save on your computer or in your Google Drive. And then you can re-upload it at any time by importing it into Whiteboard.chat. Right, and then this is this time machine feature. So what this does is basically, as the students progress through their work, you can look at that and say, look, at time 0, right, what was the page look like, right? And then you can progress through the work. You can see, look, they put this object here at 1:50 p.m., which is local time for me, right? And then you can move that ahead, right? At this time, like for example 1:52 p.m., they put this object, and then the second object. So, and then you can play it as well, so it'll play live for you over time. So you can see, as the students are progressing, what were they doing, or in the group board, when they were doing the group activity, what was the sequence of events that kids were following, right? And you can do this asynchronously for anything, even if the kids are working offline on their own. Yeah, or look, you haven't done nothing for 30 minutes too. That's right.
It's
Okay.
it's about the video link one. Can I stop it from starting as soon as I navigate to the page it's on?
The YouTube thing, yeah, other teachers have asked us that too. My daughter was also complaining about it today. So yeah, we will change it.
Okay, and there's a question about the game board. Can they? How do you first of all set it up, and then is there a way for them to do an assignment before that game board is available?
Uh, so you're talking about the group board?
No, I think this is the game, the upload game board thing.
So the upload game board, I think, hold on, we are working with another teacher and her colleague to make it such that it is very easy for people to use. So we will publish that probably in the next week or so, how we can do the Among Us game really nicely.
Okay, I think maybe I'm not articulating that question correctly. So, Roseanne, if you
Wait, let's finish this right now so
okay,
we can go back to the individual questions. I think,
okay.
yeah, I think we saw downloading work, right? So you can actually download the work as well. So you click this button, right? You can download, as a teacher, you can download the whole class's work as a single PDF, or one PDF per scholar, right? Or as a student, you can download your work, your individual work, as a PDF as well. So you can submit it into Google Classroom or wherever else you want to, right? So you see that it automatically created this PDF with my work on it, so I can submit it. But remember, you don't need to do that with Whiteboard.chat, because all of the work that you are doing gets saved automatically, right? So you can go back and look at Whiteboard.chat to see when was the last time the students did work on this board. You can do corrections there. You can actually, some teachers send these links, the individual student links, to the parents as well, so the parents can go back and see the work as well, right? So they can go take a look at to what the students were doing. I think we are almost out of time, so I will, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to stop the recording, and like I said, after that we will stay on, and then we can continue answering individual questions or getting feedback, or showing you features that we didn't have time to show.